Good day, good morning, good night, good evening, good times. Hello everybody. Welcome to Ungovernable Misfits Action News. Once again, this is going to be one of these informal pods. We'll probably do these kind of informal action news pods for the next few episodes. So don't expect all the music and the characters and the skits and all that stuff. Just more personal conversations between Max and I about Bitcoin mining and whatever else comes to our minds.
Yeah, both busy in the fiat mines in very, very different ways, but doing battle every day at the moment, grinding. This is how the shows are going to be. But it's quite nice. I enjoyed the last one. I enjoyed just a bit more. It's a bit more like our just general chats that we have, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I think people should be aware that our recorded chats really aren't that much different from our personal phone calls. These
No,
are the same two guys.
the levels are slightly better on the edited version, but outside of
Yeah,
that,
sure. Less ums and ahs, but we try to be pretty authentic.
hmm
I can't even remember what the last action news episode was about, to be honest
no,
with you. No fucking
no.
idea.
No, and we've been trying to record this one like you cancelled, then I cancelled, then you
hmm
cancelled, then I cancelled. It's hard getting this done, but we're here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we both feel this personal responsibility, not only to our sponsors, Lincoin and AltairTech.io, and of course, Lake Satoshi. We talk about Lake Satoshi constantly, so
hmm
you guys know what the deal is. But we feel a personal responsibility to you guys. In many ways, you hear the news about Bitcoin mining and you go, okay, I wonder what Jon and Max think about that particular issue. Because I bet they're going to have a different opinion on this news topic than most everybody else is.
Generally seems to be the way, at least for the last 18 months or something like that. It
Hmm.
seems like an invisible hand has been guiding the narrative, and then everyone just regurgitates it.
Oh my God. The invisible hand of Jack Dorsey
Mm.
decentralizing mining by centralizing everything to his cabal.
He's got a load of little puppets with his hand up their bums. Beep, 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 beep,
hmm
beep, beep. Not ours.
He's quite the unassuming puppeteer, isn't he?
We're no puppets. He's not getting anywhere near our bums.
No, no,
No.
no, thank you.
Oh, no. No.
That's reserved for doo-doo only. Okay, so what are we going to talk? We've got four main topics. I have no show notes. I have no show prep.
Excellent.
So this is all off the top of my head.
That's how I like it.
Yeah, right. You'll see how important it is for me to do show prep. There's a difference. There's a difference when I do like a solid 6-8 hours of show prep versus, well, I've been working 12, 14 hours a day every day for the past few months. So these are my ramblings about Bitcoin mining.
Okay.
Number one, we'll talk about the other side, the other thought process from my mind and from other people's voices in the Pleb Miner Mafia community about the Proto rig.
That's fine.
It is fine, Peter. You would have had the whole crew on to give the so-called Bitcoin plebs the narrative, and you wouldn't have challenged anything because you're a piece of shit fucking cuck. You're not a cypherpunk. You're not punk rock. You're not ungovernable at all.
So, okay, that's fine.
Well, at least you've accepted your lot in life and made a lot of money off of it. Made a lot of money off the backs of the plebs by scamming them with your piece of shit companies that you promote. Yeah. So we'll talk about the Proto rig. Listen, I'm going to come from the perspective of somebody who's been in telecom for 30 fucking years now.
Oh, he's so old.
I started when I was 18, I'm not that old. Buddy, I'm laboring for 13, 14 hours a day. So I'm a little creaky, but I still got stamina.
Bit of WD-40 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. A little silicone spray, PB blasters, that kind of bust up the rust. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've really taken from Karam is he says, take creatine.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing 10 milligrams, I don't know, 2 scoops of creatine and collagen in the morning.
Okay, and collagen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan always talks about collagen.
Trying to keep everything loose. It takes me, there's a lot of grunts and groans at night.
Yeah.
And in the morning. And every once in a while, I treat myself with some ibuprofen.
Ooh, just take the edge off.
Yes, that's right. Just to take the edge off so I can kind of sleep through the night without my elbow hurting or my
Uh-huh.
shoulder hurting or my back hurting.
Okay.
Less.
Very nice. You got to treat yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not all grind. You got to let loose sometimes and pop
Mhm.
ibuprofen once a week.
I like to let loose, you know?
Yeah, you're a party boy.
We'll talk about the Proto rig relatively briefly.
Okay.
I sent out a tweet the other day. This is my 8th winter coming up of Bitcoin mining heat capture.
Wish.
Bitcoin mining being the heartbeat of my home.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot of lessons. As you know, my builds aren't particularly complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I can just offer some plain old man advice on just starting with heating a room, scaling up to heating your entire house.
Yeah.
You will ask me these questions
Will I?
because you live in a very, the Shetland Islands are fucking cold and
They
wet,
are. Yeah.
windy.
Full of really small horses that you just trip over all the time, like mice.
The pony attacks are dangerous.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin mining heat capture, and you'll talk about how to protect yourself and your family from pony attacks.
Yes. It's all the advice that you really need.
Mm-hmm. It's important.
Yeah.
It's what people are talking about nowadays. What else did I have here, Max? I kind of want to talk about the pain of pioneer mining a little bit, not because I want any sympathy,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want a little bit of sympathy. Like I want
Yeah.
people to say, keep going, Jon. You're doing a good job. You're going to get there soon.
You are doing a good job. I tell you that.
You do.
I tell you that all the time.
Yep.
You are doing a good job. You are going to get there. It is all going to be worth it.
You know, there's this thing about parenthood where it's always this one-sided thing to your children.
Oh, the little guns.
You're encouraging them, but it doesn't have to be one-sided. It can be reciprocal. So I encourage you in your life because I'm a good dad to you. And sometimes I need a little bit of encouragement from my kids.
Mm-hmm.
When you sing Cats in the Cradle to me, cats in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then.
I do sing that to you every morning.
Yeah, and it makes me feel guilty. It's like I want to be a better dad to you, but this is my
You're
way
a
of
great
being a
dad.
better dad.
Yeah, you got to provide.
I love you, boy.
I love you, Dad.
I love you.
Gay!
What else? Was that it? I said 4 topics, but now I can't remember. This is not having show notes in front of me.
Dorsey Puppeteers, 8th year of mining at home with heat capture. Oh, you've done a pre-recorded, what do we call them?
Pleb Miner in the Wild, of course.
Pleb Miner in the Wild, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Which we do have a theme tune for, but it's
Yes,
not loaded
David
up at the
Attenborough
moment.
was kind enough to record that for us.
He was. And what else? What was the 4th thing?
That is 4. The interview with Kris
Yeah.
from altairtech.io.
Mm-hmm.
He is helping Avril out with many things as far as Altair Tech goes.
Yeah.
I did an interview with him so people can get to know him.
Very nice.
All right, shall we loosen things up with some boosts? Karam, if you could edit out the parts where I search around.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Yeah, he'll do that.
Well, the last one we did was a quick, cool one with Crazy Carl. That was a good one. Carl's a neat guy. That was a while ago.
It was a good one.
It was in late July, so we're not crazy late for this Action News episode.
No, we're doing all right.
First boost up is Chet with 10,021 sats. You hook me up with your girl. Old smelly Rod Palmer ain't got a shot this time. What the fuck is her name? Orange Tart? LMFAO?
Warm orange tart.
I will not be hooking you up with warm orange tart.
Mm,
Sorry, buddy.
she's too good for you.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want you corrupting her.
No, I think, Chet, you need to aim in a different direction. What's the perfect girl for Chet?
Well, I think the perfect girl was, what was her name? We don't hear from her very often anymore. Hashlatet?
Haslatet, yeah.
I feel like the blue hue that she gave off was the right aura to be around Chet.
Mhm.
Calmed him down a little bit, and I think he needs a little bit of sluttiness and a little bit of smurfiness in his life.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just the perfect...
He's got the sluttiness, that's for sure.
Yeah, and now she brings the smurfettiness, and I think they'd have incredible babies. Imagine the blue with the beard.
I like it. That's a handsome character.
it would be a gorgeous baby. So I would say, Hashlatet, if you ever do find your way back to Ungovernable Misfits, or maybe you're just lurking in the background and not boosting and listening, consider going to see Chet. He's an odd guy, but he's got a heart of gold, and you'd have beautiful children. And you probably have a lot of fun making them as well, I think.
I agree. You know, Chet doesn't get enough credit for how handsome he is. A very handsome man.
He is.
Yeah. All right. Enough gay stuff.
Okay.
Next up is Late Stage Huddle. Woo girls are hilarious. I love pointing out, oh, the woo girls are here. And someone in my group will ask, what does that mean? Other group says, woo. And I just point, see? Woo girls. Also, you're right. You shouldn't tell me you'd read anything. Gettysburg Address? Laughing face. I'm going to get drunk and boost again, asking Jon to read War and Peace, or Mandibles, or Human Action. That will not be happening, but Jordan and I were speaking the other day that I really have been meaning to do this and record all the Charles Muriel stuff.
Yes, that would be good.
Officially, we will do that. We have some plans in the works to do more reading like that and to have a pretty interesting pod with Colonial. So that'll be coming up in the next few months.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. While that airplane's going overhead, just take the opportunity to say I read Mandibles. It's not bad, actually. Human Action, I struggled.
You read something.
Well,
do you listen to it on tape?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When I say read, it always means, unless it's a very short article or like a text message, then it means listen. But I listened to it, and it was quite enjoyable, actually. It was quite good. Human Action, less so. Bit difficult to drudge through that one.
And definitely not War and Peace.
I haven't read War and Peace. What's the one Ben always was badgering me to go through? And
Atlas Shrugged.
Atlas Shrugged. I listened to that. That was very long, but very good. I did enjoy that.
I've read it 3 times now.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very long. Even on audiobook, it was like 96 hours of audio.
There are movies of it, but they're terrible.
I'm sure they are, yeah. No, it was good. I enjoyed that one. I'm not sure the writing is that good, but there's some great speeches.
I would tend to agree with you. Yeah. I wouldn't say she's a literary genius. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's great literature.
No, what I would say is like it's got a really good message, It's got really good characters, it's got a good point, and it's like it's very clear what she's trying to portray. And it was very like ahead of its time in the sense that she's saying, look, I've come from Russia, I've come from this side of the world, I've seen where this goes, and she wasn't wrong. She's pretty fucking smart.
If you want great literature on the topic, I think Solzhenitsyn would probably be your best bet. But the same vein, Solzhenitsyn certainly experienced a lot more pain because of global communism than Ayn Rand did. Anyway.
She was cool, though. I've seen some interviews of her, and I was just like, you're a fucking gangster. We said this before. She's far more of a Bitcoiner and far more of a man with bigger balls than 99% of the Bitcoin Twitter fucking retards. She was cool as fuck. I'd have liked to spend some time with her. The way she handled the interviews and the idiots who were walking blindly into a pit of death was just, yeah, I liked it.
I love on some of those interviews, she's like smoking like a fiend.
Yeah.
I think that's what Grease really appreciates about her. He's a big Ayn Rand fan, but I think the smoking has a lot to do with it too.
I think that's why he actually took up smoking in the first place. He's trying to emulate her character.
And it's an inspired habit.
Yeah, great habit. Definitely worth picking up. The book and cigarettes if you haven't already.
Make it happen. He does have plans to do KYC-free tobacco. This is something he's talked about for a long time. I think he's getting there.
Yeah, but wasn't it like one plant on his doorstep?
No, that was me. I had 3 plants.
Oh, okay.
And I dried out all the tobacco, and they dried too fast.
Right.
I tried to do it in the basement with minor heat because I thought it'd be a better story, and it just turned them all into crispy shit. I fucked it all up.
Okay. Oh, well done.
Yeah,
okay.
Thanks. Next up is pies.
Hey, chingity jing.
Let's fucking go. Jon doing push-ups live on air. Muscle, mushroom, and salute. Salute back to you, our good friend. If you guys want to know more about pies, tune into the Sound Coffee episode that Otis and Fundamentals did with pies. It was nice to hear his voice.
Oh, I haven't listened to that yet.
It's a really good listen. He just joined the gang on that podcast, and he fit right in.
He's a great guy, Pies.
When you're that deep of a podcast listener, I think you naturally can be on a podcast and do a great job, and he did.
Very nice. We should get him on one time. I haven't listened to that yet. I still haven't listened to one single podcast in the last 6 months. I think the last one I listened to must have been in February.
What was it? Probably wasn't even Bitcoin ecosystem.
I can't think what it would have been. I think it was probably, I was really getting into like some of the UFO stuff that was going on, because I have a few mates in the military who were like bugging me, going, mate, there's some weird shit happening like around your area. They kept like messaging me about different stuff, and then I was already like into it, and I was like, oh, okay, there's definitely something going on. And then yeah, life got in the way. I love listening to all the UFO stuff and like anything that's a bit supernatural and a bit weird. I just find it enjoyable.
Next up is Chill Now 1. System status. Connection restored. Action News 17. 2 cunts. Dream of exalted Valhalla. Syslog. Viking funeral requested. Subliminal infiltration achieved. Sys warning. Exotic malware detected. Most retarded podcast. Unlocks new retard level. Exit code. Praise as prize accepted. Identity is no longer given. It is forged. Hardware mining questions answered. Crazy Carl. Audacious. Inspiration. Statistics dwindle. Pivot for racist marketing. Earn your colors. PMM outlaw style. Rebellion starts small. A thought. A spark. Sometimes all it takes is one moment to ignite a movement. System shutdown. High-level boosts.
I love those. 2 cunts. Racist advertising.
Oh, don't worry. It's not really racist. This is how we talk.
Imagine if one day we meet and we genuinely do a deal.
Do a deal with Canaan.
Imagine if that's how a deal is done.
It's Canaan. You've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time.
Canaan. We'll pronounce it however you want if you pay
That's
our
right.
bills.
You pay us enough money. You can puppeteer us.
Yeah, you can. And we'll even do we'll do like a French accent if you want, just to mix it up a bit, just to really confuse people. So get in touch.
This Canaan Avalon is c'est bon. Stack Jero. Like getting a large amount of wealth, Max, learning a sense of rhythm and to play instruments requires a large degree of low time preference. Some come in to it much easier than others and are lacking in other areas. In the age of AI, produced music learning and having a skill like playing the guitar will become an ungovernable trait. I totally agree with that. Bubba and Greaser wrote a song together. Well, I think Greaser just basically did the prompts from Bubba's lyrics about traveling on the road on his motorcycle. If you get a chance to tune into 2 Angry Cunts podcast, Bubba plays that song that he and Greaser produced. But it turned out pretty good. But Bubba can just play that on guitar.
Yeah.
He can do both.
He can do stuff.
Turkey boosted 500 sats. Pies is in again. I agree with you, Max, on how many men are cunts when talking about their ladies when with the other guys. I would never disrespect my wife by doing that. Muscle.
Yeah, it's gay.
Noster Gang gives up the rock hand symbol. Thank you very much, Noster Gang. Pies is back again with some salutes and mussels and mushrooms in the USA. A number 1 for the St. George's flag.
Oh, yeah.
No, USA is number 1. St. George's flag is shit.
Okay. The UK certainly seems to think so at the moment.
What cucks. To rip down your own historical flag. That one just bugs the shit out of me.
It's amazing.
It's okay. All right, we got ILO. AILO. That's a new booster that loved this show. Ungovernable Misfits. Jon and Max should never be apart. We aren't ever apart, by the way.
Never in spirit.
No, not at all. We're always connected.
We are.
He's my son. We've got that bond that doesn't go away.
Exactly.
And that is it for boosts. That was actually relatively brief boosting. So get on it. You don't have to boost much, but just let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
How you feel. The Proto mining rig.
Chill alert.
Big to do. Everybody
Chill
super
alert.
excited. Yeah, right. My ass. The technical side of stuff. If you want to know what the efficiency is, which I think it's like 14 something joules per terahash proposed, what its field ratings are, I don't know. It's modular in a sense where you can have it on a shelf. It holds multiple hash boards and fans. You can replace these fans and hash boards at will without taking the entire machine down. There are certain advantages that I see, and I really like the design. It was kind of like a Steve Jobs Apple rollout with a lot of design talk. And that's good. You know, from my perspective of being in telecom for so many years and field deploying electronics equipment for 30 years now in between military and civilian applications, this is the way that we do it. Our systems hold a bunch of cards that are upgradable for speeds, different lasers for fiber optics. You can just pop out a card, put in a new card. The operating system automatically recognizes the card, may have to do an upload. You may have to activate it or put it in service or, tell the brains of the operation, hey, this is what we're doing, but it's pop and swap. When I was in the Marine Corps, I repaired large switchboards. That was part of my vocation there, the switchboard repairman. So I did everything from work on switchboards where you had to program them with a card. You programmed them in an analog manner. So you hooked a switchboard up and you wanted to program a telephone loop, a little TA312 crank telephone. This was what we used back then. You would put a card in and say, I want to program loop 1 with this number. Boom, cha-chink, you programmed that one. I've gone from the age of where you had this crank telephone and you would crank the switchboard and a little cat eye on a patch panel would flip and an operator would physically plug in a patch cord and say, hello, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to call Captain Jones. Okay, let me patch you right into Captain Jones. She would, yes, and I said she because if you're a female in the military, that's the kind of job that you should have. That's super sexist, I know.
Mm-hmm.
She would crank her ring generator and ring Captain Jones's phone. He would pick up and she would physically patch you through. That was about as analog as it got. And then I've gone up to digital switchboards and switchboards that multiplex fiber optic feeds from a satellite, from a microwave radio, from radios, all kinds of different ways to connect the switchboard up. And with all of those switchboards, you had a troubleshooting repair kit, meaning all of the common things in that switchboard that would go wrong, you had a maintenance backup on it. You had a weatherproof box of new good cards. Before you field deployed, you made sure that all of those cards were good. And if something went bad, you popped it out and you put a new one in. You weren't doing field repairs there because you couldn't. You had to have the systems back up and running immediately. Why did I give you all of that context? Because that's what I see that they're thinking about in Proto Rig. The engineering side of things are great. There's a lot of thought process that went into that. What's your common problems? Oh, all these cardboard fucking boxes that we have. What do we do with all of these boxes? They thought about packaging. They thought about handles on the side so you can pick these things up easily. You load up a container or a rack with a bunch of miners, think about ergonomics. What does that do to your guys over time as far as fucking their backs up and their shoulders up, racking all these machines? Well, they thought of that. That was great. Do we really need to bring down an entire machine just to swap out a fan? No, that's stupid. Why did the Chinese design these form factors like this so differently than the rest of like the data center and telecom industry? I don't know. They're Chinese. I think they did it with the intention of, we're only going to have like 20, 30 miners in a location, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. So this form factor makes sense. And, well, this is how we design these things. And people keep buying them. So we're going to keep designing them this way. There's no reason for us to change.
Yeah, don't change if it's working, especially if there's not that much competition.
Yeah, to be a new entrant into this space, I appreciate the fact that they went all out to be a new entrant into the mining gear space. That's neat. That's a technical perspective. But here comes, and everything to do with Dorsey has to be deeply tied to virtue tokens. So it was a lot of this virtue bullshit. Oh, we're decentralizing once again. This will be open source. Well, it turns out it's not truly open source. And here's where I get to the negatives of things. And I'd like to cite two people who obviously respect very, very much. and that is Alex, now with Mega Miner, and Avril. Of course, they sponsor the show, altairtech.io. Use promo code
Ungovernable.
First up, Alex says his thoughts on the Proto news. There's been a lot of big hype announcements in mining, and I think new players need to prove a lot before it's time to get excited. Need real-world tests, track records, etc. Lots of big claims, but need things shipped first. It's cool to see the other manufacturers. The form factors has some advantages, and they highlighted, but they really need to compete with Bitmain and execute to do anything meaningful beyond an exciting press event. If their form factor and product is great, Bitmain will likely adopt something similar. And I just want to interrupt that for a second. The Bitmain has no, and anybody else really, has no incentive to completely redesign their product line. People are buying this billions of dollars worth of gear from Bitmain. Why redesign? They're not stupid, these Chinese.
They certainly aren't.
They're very wiry
And wise.
and arise. Being a serious player in hardware manufacturing is incredibly difficult. Airplane. What's Miner and Canaan have been around a long time and are on the periphery. I want to see more competition, variety, durable products, efficiency, but wanting those things isn't a reason to accept claims at face value. I'm skeptically optimistic. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it, Alex. That being said, I would definitely like to have it as a product offering for people to test them, but I think it's a really bad idea to go all in on an unknown right now. Supplanting Bitmain is easier said than done. Bitmain is incredible at what they do.
Wise words. Very wise man.
He's a wise young man beyond his years, that Alex.
He is 12 years old and he's done all of this. It really is incredible.
He looks like he's 12. He just has like that kind of youthful smile to him. He's got like a wry grin half the time because, there's something cooking up in that brain of his. When we're hanging out, I'd be like, what are you thinking about? What are you scheming up in that brain of yours? He's very thoughtful. Now on to our good friend Avril. He says he's happy to see a new entrant in the mining hardware space, and I think we all are. Great. I mean, if it were some other Chinese company, that would be cool. It really just fascinated by the seal miner stuff. That's a new entrant in the space, and they made an impact immediately. Jihan Wu is an interesting guy. Love him or hate him, he spun up another company and competed pretty well with Bitmain. So much so, and you'll hear on the interview with Kris from Altair Tech, that's Kris, Altair Tech. Very boring username. Very boring. You should have spiced that up.
You should.
That they're just about sold out of the A2 units. Maybe you can get like a onesie, twosie or something like that, but you're not ordering a shitload of them. You'll have to wait for the A3.
Like you say, love him or hate him, you got to hunt it to him. He is a G.
Yeah, he is. He is just that. It's easy to hate. Very, very easy.
That just went way over your head. I said, you got to hunt it to him. He is a G. G hunt.
G. Oh my. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, woo!
You bring so much to the mining space, Max.
Yeah. I'm a woo girl.
You
Han G woo!
He says semiconductors are natural monopolies where the rich get richer, so it's hard for new entrants. A lot of key details such as price and availability are missing, so hard to compare it with existing miners. Efficiency at 14.1 joules per terahash would be competitive if it were released today, but this is likely won't release till the end of the year, and by then Bitmain S23 and Bitdeer A3 will be substantially ahead on efficiency. So we'll see. They might say, okay, but our form factor is still the same and it still has an advantage. And we've come up with new hash boards. We've come up with better chips on the hash boards. So we'll see. I guess the biggest question is, can you afford it? Will you get one at Pleb Miner scale? Very unlikely, in my opinion, that you'll be able to get your hands on one of these. I think the relationship was with Core, that they were going to first start deploying these things. So maybe Aaron Hall will have an inside scoop if they're actually doing that, because he has a site right next to Core's site, as a matter of fact. We'll see. We'll wait and see. And on Government Misfits, we always temper our expectations of just about every news that comes out. Every trend that comes out, you can depend on us to be miserable about that particular trend and give more of a wait and see kind of attitude, because more often than not, you're going to be disappointed after the hype has faded away.
I think that's the thing is like what you learn being around us is just be miserable. Don't expect much from life. Just temper your expectations. It's a good message.
It's a good way to live life, I guess, in general.
Expect less.
You had mentioned on one of your Bitcoin briefs with Q that, well, this proto rig is going to come out and Jon is probably going to shit all over it. I was a little bit sad that that's the way you see me, that I'm automatically going to shit on everything. But, I am automatically going to temper my expectations of any big hyped announcement where Jack Dorsey is involved. And Jack Dorsey wants to decentralize everything, but he's more centralizing everything to himself. If you recall our episode where we exposed Start Small LLC and what he really cares about, and you go back to the Twitter files and how much of a cuck he is to authoritarians, you really want everything centralized around that guy. It's all him. Contributes to Knots, contributes to Core, contributes to OSMU, 1031, involved in this proto rig stuff, ocean mining. It's all him.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop fucking cucking for this guy. We'll keep saying it over and over and over. Stop fucking cucking for this guy. Does that mean you're cucking for Chinese centralization? Does that mean you're cucking for Marathon? No. Treat them all the same. They're all fucking pieces of shit. And if they're coming from the woke left or they're coming from the crony communist other side of things or wherever the fuck they're coming, they all fucking hate you. You're an ungovernable misfit and they all fucking hate you because you can't be controlled.
That's more why as Q was going into it, I was like, what's going to be shitting on this? It wasn't necessarily that you shit on everything. It was more, okay, here's a thing that's like, it had a few buzzwords around it. We know who's behind it or involved in it. So I was like, I'm just guessing that he's not going to be quite as excited. And I was right. So there we are.
I'm going to take a pause here and take a bite of some freshly made barn jerky.
Ooh. What flavour?
Hot, always hot.
Always hot. What's he got? Just hot and normal, or has he got other ones as well?
Hot and normal, yeah. Damn. Damn, barn.
I've still never had any.
Barnjerky.hashroots.io.
You know he sent me some and Q&A ate it all.
Why? Yeah. Why wouldn't he?
Selfish robot.
Sorry, mate. Barn jerky management.
Barn jerky management. Yum, 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 yum,
yum. I usually don't have my worker here on Saturdays. That's when we're recording this episode. But I have been digging this hole down by Crick, as we say around here. We don't say creek, we say crick. I said, this is something he would be good at doing, digging hole.
Who, Barn?
No, my worker.
Oh, okay.
I would never bring Barn to do manual labor.
No, I can't imagine you would.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm telling you what, I had this conversation with Jordan yesterday, and he's talking about trying to hire guys and find work for them. And they just aren't interested in doing anything but working like 6-7 months and then going on unemployment. And we have a lot of that around here amongst the blue collar guys, the trades, the construction trades, where they're like, oh, I take winter times off and I go on unemployment. And that has transferred in a very negative way to the younger generation. But I'm so blessed as time has gone on. I first introduced what I was doing here, with this guy and working with him, younger fella, in the mentorship episode, PMM episode that we did. And man, has he just turned out great. He's so smart. He's so intelligent and hardworking and thoughtful. And I'm just blessed. I hit the fucking jackpot with this kid.
What a difference it makes.
I want to put this out there. If anybody this spring is looking for someone to do an internship, this guy will be graduating soon with a cybersecurity degree. Reach out, especially if it's some kind of remote internship. He's very good. Very, very good. Anyways, moving on. We'll do this one last thing, play the Pleb Miner in the Wild, talk about it for a second, and say goodbye.
Okay, sounds lovely.
This is my 8th winter season of doing some sort of heat capture in my home. It's a long time.
What an OG.
Not to say that to be an OG, but just to open up the conversation for people that have been thinking about it, because this is the revival now with the Avalon Q and the Loki rig builds. that Altair does. It was different. Everybody started with S9s. And I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people started the home heating stuff with S9s. S9s and a cooler. There were a lot of cooler builds.
Yeah, who was it who started Diverter? Who did that?
It might be Diverter with the mining for the streets piece that he did.
I think it might have been. I remember there being a cooler box build.
A cooler, yeah. I remember the cooler box. Yeah. I was always just a fan shroud out in the open kind of guy at first. It was just like, well, I have this, might as well heat this cold ass garage. Because what happened when we first bought that house, first winter in that house was fucking brutal. And we had a snowstorm and we were out of power for, like 8-9 days, something like that. And within the first couple days, the hydronic heat, the radiator cracked. The cast iron radiator cracked in our garage. So I didn't put the same radiator back in. I put in like a forced air radiator. But I was like, well, why am I doing that? Why don't I just use this heat from this S9 in the garage just to keep them? Because my office in the kids' playroom where I usually do my recordings is right above that garage. And it's all really old single pane wood windows because it's kind of a sunroom. The entire thing is surrounded by windows. And it's just cold as fuck from the cold air coming from the garage below it and all those leaky ass windows. It just made sense to me. Why waste this? It was before like the fan shrouds came out and the ducting and all that stuff. It's the natural progression thing. This thing produces heat. Why not capture it? And then everybody started 3D printing fan shrouds, and that gave us heat capture guys a lot to work with, just with fan shrouds and then inline fans and ducting these different places. So I don't know. Does anybody have any questions? I kind of put it out there on Noster. There was one guy that was going to ask questions about starting up heat capture. Maybe you can just fill that void and ask me questions like how one gets started or scales.
I guess my question would be, because I obviously know your setup and what you've done over the years and tried over the years and stuff. How would you approach things differently now, given the type of products that are out there and your knowledge from what you've gone through? If you walked into the same house with the same problems, what would you do now? Or would you just not do it at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. Man, this has saved us so much money and made us so much money over the years. No, I would certainly go about the same path. I think I
Buy
was
1,000 bed axes, put them in really cool 3D printed shrouds. That's obviously mine on Ocean.
I'm a big sub panel guy. I like the idea of throwing sub panels around. That way you can take off 220. So for me, I have the skills and the ability to do electrical work. I think I would not centralize everything so much. I wanted this big build to be built just like an HVAC system, a traditional HVAC system where everything comes from the air handler. But, with like these mini split units, it kind of makes sense that you have these units spread more throughout the house for more zone control than what I did before, where everything was going to come from the garage. I think that's one thing that I would have done differently, is spread things out, which they are now, but they weren't at first. Like the heat had to come from one space because I want this to be my command center. Number one tip, just keep it simple. You don't have to over-engineer everything, because when you do over-engineer stuff, it breaks, it's complicated and time-consuming to run. Your wife can't run it. That's the thing that I hate the most in the wintertime, is when the traditional heating system comes on. It pisses me the fuck off. Like, fuck. I better do this differently, or why didn't I crank these machines up earlier? I knew it was going to get cold. When that thing kicks on, because it's always there to kick on, I didn't take out my traditional HVAC system. It's just sort of replaced by this Bitcoin mining build. So when you're over-engineered and your wife has to like do some adjustments, that's not good. And you want it to be simple enough to where she can make the adjustments. For me, I see that the weather's going to break or something like that. I can even call my oldest daughter. I said, can you log into those two machines in the attic and scale them up? Now, there's a lot of open source builds for thermometers that can connect into different operating software and machines and scale those machines up and down based on the thermometer. I don't have anything like that. I just say, well, it's not going to be exactly 68 degrees, 70 degrees, whatever you have your thermostat set up. There's probably going to be a little bit of a range in there, and that's okay. And I don't have to be so obsessed about scaling up and down. Maybe I'll shunt some heat to the outside as opposed to capturing it. My builds are super, super simple, and anybody that's been in my house and I've toured around, they're like, oh, okay, that's pretty simple. That makes sense. Keep it simple unless you're, I don't know, a single guy or you're just a really, really good engineer. I think even some of the guys that are good engineers and have developed some of these products that enable miners to scale up and down, maybe even have abandoned their builds before because of the level of complication. Now, that's on the air-cooled side of things. Hydro has really, really come a long way since we all started this. And if you listen to our Pleb Miner in the Wild with Travis Bickle, he's shunting water around. I've always thought that storing this heat in water form in some sort of battery in a tank is a great idea. That way you can shunt to that battery. You can pull off of the water battery whenever you want to. But if you're doing air-cooled, then you have to shunt that heat outside or scale machines down. My preference is to shunt heat outside because it's a simple operation. Scaling machines up and down, especially with some older machines and brains, it takes them a while to balance themselves back out. And I've never thought that fucking around with them all the time was a good idea. Sometimes they squirrel out when you want to scale them up and down. So I avoid that.
What would you do differently in terms of machines now?
I don't know if I would go with some Canaan products myself, but the Avalon Q is pretty neat. It's like the industrial machines really pushed air hard and loud. And so that was a disadvantage to some people, but not to me, because my noise mitigation was always pretty good with ducting and the apparatus that I had around the miners. So it forced a lot of air through there. And I don't know if that Avalon Q forces enough air for it to make it all the way through, a large room. I think it's good for your office to warm your feet, but I don't know if it's exactly good for moving a lot of air all throughout your house. So that's where the industrial machines and the loud fans come into play, and the inline fans to move it even further throughout the ductwork. As long as you're getting the heat to your cold air return, if you have some kind of forced air unit, you're good. It'll get it through the rest of your house. So as far as the new machines go, if I started now, I don't know, Max.
That's okay. It's okay not to know.
I think my headspace is too much. I'd still go with the industrial machines. But start with one room.
Yeah.
Whatever you get, start with one room and start experimenting in there. Oh, I noticed that it's really hot underneath the desk, and that's great. But my kids play around 5 feet behind me, and they're freezing their asses off. Okay, now I need to get a little desk fan to move that air further. Oh, I noticed that maybe I can get it to go out of this room and actually get sucked up by the cold air return. Okay, what do I need to do now? Airflow, of course, is vitally important in air-cooled setup and getting that hot air to where you want it. So yeah, if you need a space heater, you can do that with these Canaan builds. If you want to go whole house, I think you have to scale up to bigger machines. Now, for me, it takes 4 3,000 something watt miners to heat the house if it's above 25. If it goes below 25, I have to bring in a 5th miner. My house is very old. The insulation sucks. I've got 30 something windows in the house. So that's why I need 4 or 5 machines to do my house. But everybody's house is different. So when you start with one and start scaling up and doing more of a zone thing where you're spreading them about the house, I like that a little bit better.
That's fine.
Yeah. You're right, Max?
I didn't know what to add to that. I was like, yeah, good. That answers my question nicely. I know you're set up, so I get it.
Yeah, I guess so. Sorry, I'm eating more jerky. It's been a rough day. I need my jerky fix.
Should we listen to your incredible interview that you did? Your Pleb Miner in the Wild?
Yeah, we can do that. I just want to say one more thing about home mining. Just because you're doing it doesn't mean you're saving yourself money. You think, oh, if I'm paying for heating oil, if I'm paying electric, if I'm paying gas, and now I'm paying less because I'm mining Bitcoin and capturing that waste heat, well, then I must be coming out on top. And that's not always true, because what's the source? It's electricity. What's your electricity rate? What's the hash price? You have to know your statistics. You have to know these numbers. You have to run your family budget with these numbers and compare it to what you were paying without, because you might have a really good and efficient heating system already. You might be in a zone where your heat pump can do everything, where your wintertime temps are 40, 50 degrees, and that heat pump is crazy efficient. What is the efficiency of your heat pump? Is it a super efficient system? You might be using less electricity because of that highly engineered HVAC system, as opposed to you trying to move this air all throughout your house. You know, I don't like ROI stuff, but what is your ROI on that hydro system that you've built and you've run PEX tubing all throughout your house and those machines, and that cost you $30,000 to build, but you already had a heat pump there? Don't get caught in this, that statistics don't matter. That's why we cover them so heavily on here. That's why we drill it into your brain all the time. You have to know what zone you're in, what your wintertime temps are, what your current heating costs are. It isn't just an easy calculation in your family budget where you say to your wife, hey, we're going to start mining Bitcoin here because we're going to save a lot of money. That's not always true in all cases.
Yeah, so would it be fair to say just don't get overexcited and start small if you're going to start a tool? You know, even if you do have a really efficient system and it doesn't make sense to have it all through your house and go all out, it might be worth just running an old machine in the garage or workshop or shed or somewhere where you want some heat and it's not connected to the rest of the heating system. Like something like that is still good. It's still something. And then you can play from there.
Yeah. It's very situational. Very, very, very situational. That's not a blanket statement that you can just, oh, this is simple. I mean, if you have a machine running by your cold air return, well then, you know, you're helping your system out.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got 20-cent kilowatt hour electricity costs.
Yes, then it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Well, it's dumb. Heating oil might be cheap in your area. Gas might be cheap in your area. All right, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's listen to our thing.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome to it, another Ungovernable Misfits Action News, Pleb Miner and the Wild series. AltairTech.io has been a sponsor of the show for a very long time. Thank you, Avril, for your continued support of Ungovernable Misfits so we can bring you the programming that you love. You know, everybody in our audience is used to working with Avril and used to working with Barn Miner, our sweet, lovable little boy, Barn Miner. But he has moved on to doing some other things, and Kris, Altair Tech, has slid right in there and is probably going to take things to the next level. So, Kris, I wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the Ungovernable Misfits audience and let everybody know who you are, what you can do for them, what's your story, because people like that. That's one of the great things about Altair Tech is there's like a face behind the company, and that's Avril, and now you're another face behind the company. So welcome.
Thank you. My name is Kris. I work at Altair Tech. I am taking over for Barn Miner, as you said.
You got to say it right. Come on, give me a good one.
I don't know if you can get a good one out of me, a much better one out of me.
Oh, come on. You got it in. You give me a good Barn Miner.
Barn Miner.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, I handle sales, customer support, and pretty much all the day-to-day stuff that goes behind the scenes with Altair Tech.
It's a lot. And just from talking to Barn, you guys provide customer support. And that's kind of an oddity in the mining industry. Like,
Yep.
Hey, here's your miner. You got it. It's yours now. Bye. Your after sales support is something that I've always appreciated about Altair Tech. How much of your day is after sales support?
A good chunk of the day is after sales support, to be honest. And like you said, it just doesn't exist too often in our industry. When people actually know that they can talk to somebody, they start firing away some questions, which is a good thing. I mean, that's what we're there for. That's what we're set up to do.
Well, I'm sure you have all kinds of levels of questions because with the BitAxe sales and with the home heating and Loki rig sales, you have a lot of entry level people into mining.
Yeah.
So what kind of questions do you get from the entry level people, and what kind of questions do you get from the larger mining?
Since we ship worldwide to pretty much every country on the planet, we get a wide variety of questions from how much money am I going to make?
Oh, yeah.
When am I going to get paid to, can I get a quote for 100 S21s or something for my facility? So
those are the good questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the fun ones, but the entry ones are also fun too. Cause as a miner myself, it's like, been there. I know exactly what you're doing wrong or whatever. So, and you can really make people's day. I really wish I had that when I was getting into mining. Like you said, it was buy the miner. Here's your miner. Good luck. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe you can find an answer on Reddit somewhere.
So how did that start your mining journey?
My mining journey started because of my good bank friends. I had a small business in Florida. I had 2 businesses in Florida. One day we woke up from a notice from our bank stating that they're closing down our bank account, freezing all our assets in the bank account for 6 months.
Were you a gun salesman?
Nope, we had a smoke shop and we had a raw glass distribution company. So we sold raw glass and different tools and materials to hot shops and art studios all over the world, really.
Mm-hmm.
One day we just were deemed high risk and they shut us down and froze everything for 6 months.
Now, was that high risk? Like, hey, you're selling to people making bongs.
Essentially, I mean, yeah, it's tobacco industry. That was back when the Juul vaporizers came out.
Yeah.
And so they were kind of nervous about those as well. They weren't really sure what was going to happen with the legislation around the Juul.
That's so crazy. Here we are 7 years later, and you go into any downtown area, at least, you're a Rust Belt resident as well. You go into any downtown area in a Rust Belt, and there's like 20 vape shops. That's all that gets open nowadays.
Well, and the funny thing is that, I got no response from them. Was there something that happened? Was there a chargeback? Because usually your processors will charge, or if you get too many chargebacks, your processors will cancel you.
Mm-hmm.
And since I had everything all through the bank, PNC, they didn't have to give me a reason. They just said, we don't have to tell you why. You're done. And we're freezing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had employees to pay. I had vendors to pay. I had bring more inventory into the store. And yeah, what am I going to do as a small business owner who was already trying to get a business off the ground as it was? That's where I found Bitcoin.
Enter Bitcoin, yeah. What a wonderfully utilitarian way to enter the space. It's really a different story than most people.
It's I tell it often because now, you wouldn't catch me giving the banks that much control over my life or my business ever again. Like it will never happen. You can't have one point of failure like that to ruin a business. It's not acceptable.
You're better for it now. You're a more resilient businessman.
Yeah. Oh, you learn quick how to pivot. That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
Essentially, I started convincing a couple of the vendors to take Bitcoin. I convinced my employee to take Bitcoin for payment, at least till I squared everything away and got us back with new banking and new processors and stuff like that. Fast forward about a year, had our first kid. The wife wanted to move back home. So sold the businesses and moved her back home. And that's when I was like, let me go even deeper down this Bitcoin rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
And learn some more things. And I had a buddy who has been mining for as long as I can remember, 2014, 15, something like that. He had an S9. He had an old S9 at the time that was just sitting around collecting dust.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here, play with this, have some fun, tinker with it, blow it up, break it, go ahead. And so he talked me on how to setting it up and blew up the power supply after I blew up a breaker. And
the same old stories.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage.
Sure it is, yeah.
So that's kind of how I started going down the rabbit hole, and it just grew from there.
What was in you to keep scaling up and not just being content with that one S9?
I just thought it was awesome. I just, I love the control of it, right?
I'm always trying to whittle down the source of our collective mental illness.
Well, I think for me, it was more having the control over everything and the freedom to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just amazed by that. So not only did I go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole to free me from the bank, so to speak, but then I was participating in that. And I found that really, like, I can actually participate. I don't have an engineering background or anything like that. So anybody that knew me prior would never in their world say that that's what I'm doing. I'm just not that type of person. Just never was. But yeah, I got addicted to it fast.
And how did you start scaling up?
Well, I believe Ethereum was being mined with GPUs at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had my desktop mining Ethereum, converting that to Bitcoin. And so I asked my buddy, I was like, is there better units than this unit?
Yeah.
And it's like, I just didn't, I was completely new. I had no idea. And there was no clear direction, at least back then, for me to go to. And so he sent me on the Telegram rabbit hole to look at different units from Chinese suppliers. And
oh, yeah.
I didn't really trust any of it. So I ended up buying a used S19 at the time, I think in Ohio. Had a buddy pick it up for me and just scaled slowly. Just added another miner every couple months. Just keep add another one. Just add another one until I was maxed out on power. I didn't see any reason not to, jump with both feet in the water, so to speak.
What does your mining setup look like now at home? Are you still in the same place?
No, in a different place. We recently bought a house. I had a little barn built in the back to house the remaining miners that I have. I think there's 6 or 7 S19 XPs out there.
Mm-hmm.
One J Pro, I believe, as well. So yeah, I got 6 units running in a little shed behind my house.
So you gathered all this mining experience over the years in a similar way to a lot of the Pleb Miner Mafia had. You do other things in mining, isn't that correct? You have something outside Detroit that you run. How did you get involved in that operation?
Yep. So as all that was happening, I knew other people that were a little bit in better positions than myself.
Mm-hmm.
And they were wanting to get into mining. They saw that I at least could do it. So they before
this guy doesn't look like an idiot. Why don't you?
Yeah, he at least
give you some money and you build one of this for us.
Well, they already had it. They were getting the units in. They were doing it with or without me. But the way they were doing it was never gonna work.
I see. Well, good thing they knew you.
Yeah, it's just the things that you learn when you get into mining that you don't really think of before then, and when you're really just new to mining, you don't consider heat and how that's actually going to affect things. You don't consider noise and how much noise it's actually going to affect things. Local cities don't necessarily like you setting up shop in the middle of the city, in any building that you wish, just because you got a good deal on it. They didn't consider power costs in the electric company that they were using. There was a lot of things that they were not.
They just looked at a profitability calculator and said, well, this seems like something we want to do.
That's exactly what it was. It's like, these make X amount of money each month. We're going to get 100 units in here and start running these units. And I said, yep, they do make that much, but you do now have to offset, transmission costs, cooling costs, and noise reduction costs, and all these other things. So that's kind of where I came in to steer them in the right direction.
Sure. I just did a workup for a gas operation in like north central Pennsylvania. And I kept putting in the email. I didn't realize how many times in this proposal that I typed this out. This is your instantaneous. This is your daily hash price. Past performance is not indicative of future results kind of thing. I can give you these ranges here, but your daily hash price, that's what it is. And that's if you sell that day. And I went on this whole diatribe about, HODL strategy throughout mining. So as you're rattling these things off, you don't realize how much you know until you're trying to help somebody that doesn't know.
Exactly.
And you're like, holy shit, maybe I do have some kind of value in the world.
Yep. No, that's kind of what it was. Because when he first reached out, I was like, I don't know if I'm qualified to help you guys, but when I saw what they were doing, I instantly knew that I could be of assistance.
Turns out I am kind of qualified.
Yeah. So I helped them, and it was a fun project. It did not work like I knew it was not going to work. But they were already fully committed. So eventually I was able to get them to a hosting facility with much better rates.
Very good.
Yeah.
How did you get hooked up with Avril?
I was a customer.
Mm-hmm. It's like the hair club for men. I'm not only a customer.
Yeah, I started out buying my power. I blew up a couple power supplies, damaged the control board, things that you learn while mining.
Yeah.
So then, that's where I did all my shopping. And when I saw they had an opening available, I had to jump, at least reach out. Here I am today.
It turns out you're the right man for the job. You're talking about having that empathy for new miners in the space. And obviously you have some kind of empathy for larger scale miners as well, given that you've helped people out. That's a very necessary skill set to have and personality type to have. In a lot of ways, I wondered, how the fuck is Barn answering all of these questions? Because he's the most miserable son of a bitch, complaining, rotten bastard of a human being. And I've never seen an ounce of empathy come out of that man.
Yeah, you have to. You gotta really just put your feet in another person's shoes just for a moment, if you can. Sometimes people are mad and frustrated.
Yeah.
I get it. I've been mad and frustrated too. Like, there's still times when I'm trying to get a firmware to flash or something, and it's just not flashing for whatever reason. And you can get frustrated, and I'm there to be the punching bag, so to speak, sometimes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You guys have such a wide range of products as well. You've got commercial miners, which are not generally friendly or easy to use, hence why we have so much aftermarket firmware available for them.
Yep.
You have experimental open source projects. It's ripping apart commercial miners and building something else with these bit axes, which everybody knows I think are ridiculous, but that's neither here nor there. You've got open source Pleb Miner Tinkerer stuff with all the Loki rigs that you guys build there, with the Erlacher and the bit chimney. But now with the Avalon stuff, that is designed for the consumer.
Absolutely.
And how has customer support been for that? Are people grasping how to use it? Is it easy to use? Do you have less questions or more questions with that line of products?
Way less questions.
Okay.
Way, like, it's not even 80 to or 90 to 10. I mean,
How about that?
Yeah, that Canaan really is changing the home mining industry. They really are with their home mine series. The Q is unbelievable device to be able to have 90 terahash inside your house.
Yeah.
And it not.
And it's good looking too.
Yeah, it looks like a desktop tower computer, maybe a little bit taller than some people's, but it's a plug and play unit.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that unit existed when I first got into mining. It would have made my journey so much easier.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have suffered though, and without the suffering and pain, you can't grow.
There's no learning. Yep,
Yeah.
There's no learning. Exactly. So it's been really awesome to see the release of that series and see how well it's doing, because that just means there's an appetite for more home mining, and that's only going to be good for Bitcoin.
What about that series is so user friendly? Besides the 120 capabilities and Wi-Fi, what about the UI in particular makes it easy for people to grasp?
2025, everybody does everything on their phone. Everybody uses an app for everything, and their app makes it super easy.
Okay.
There's no, okay, I have a wallet, I found a pool, but now where do I put that information type question?
Sure.
It's prompts you through each step. Here, put in your pool information. Click next. Okay, now enter your wallet information. Click next. Restart your device. Like it walks the customer through setup completely. I mean, my mom's 72 years old, and I had her help me like walk through it. Like I'm like, hey, come here. I want to show you how easy. Just
to prove this out.
Yeah, I just want to see how easy this actually is. Come here and do this real quick. And she did it, no problem.
So easy, your mom can do it.
Yeah.
The Canaan Avalon Q.
They solved a lot of the problems too, with the heat dispersion. With that much power, like in the Q, you would assume that it's just going to be overheating.
Yeah.
And it's not. It runs and it runs.
Well, that's great. There's something sad, though. It's like an era is passing. I've said this on Twitter a couple times, and I just saw that Avril had said the same thing. Like maybe the age of Loki is sunsetting. It's sad for a lot of us. Ungovernable Misfits was the first podcast Zach Baumstel was on to like introduce the Loki stuff. So I feel that, that's really part of the Ungovernable Misfits journey too, the whole Loki rig thing. So it's just kind of sad.
Yeah, it is sad, but in a way it fuels progression. Right? With the Q coming out, we now have the ability to learn from the Q what's going on and how they did it and how can we do it better.
Or at least say to Bitmain, like, hey, why don't you introduce some of these easier steps?
Absolutely. Oh, 100%. And I would assume that that's going to be coming in the future. Probably not anytime soon, but...
They don't do anything anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, that being said, we did put out the new modified 120 volt PSU off Zach's design. And that's kind of, I don't want to say taking the place of the Loki setup, but it kind of is.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tell the audience that doesn't know about that offering.
It's a modified PSU APW12 that allows you to run on 120 volts. So you can take just about every S19 and S21 and plug it into any outlet now with just a simple PSU swap.
And how much do you guys sell that PSU for?
$249.
That's a good deal.
So yeah, compared to doing everything else before, you had to buy the Loki kit. Occasionally you had to solder things or tinker with things.
I remember that initial Loki release, and everybody was trying to be the first ones to make a guide for the APW3 Plus.
Yeah.
And just what everybody was coming up with and all the cabling was fun to watch.
Yeah, it's nice. So we've had a surge of people who are like, oh, wait, so I don't need the APW3. I don't need to go into the miner and be more technical with the miner, right? It's simply a PSU swap. It's a couple screws,
bus bars,
and your ribbon cable. That's it.
I should talk about that more often. I actually kind of forgot about it. I'm going to do a better job of talking about that modification. We're coming up on 20-something minutes now. I'm going to keep this record because I think we're going to make it as the shortest pleb miner in the wild. We did good. Last thing, what do you think is the best buy that you guys are offering at the moment?
If you're a home miner, it's going to be the Nano 3S. I know a lot of people might not like it because they're having power supply issues sometimes, but they're a great company who stand by their product. You get a 1-year warranty with the product. They have many repair facilities across the world. You get a replacement really quickly. On the larger side, if you can find one still, which we still have a few, is the Seal Miner A2.
Agree.
It is a great device for a great price. It's reliable and it's efficient. It's the reason why it's sold out pretty much all over the world.
Yeah. I had said that on the last episode of Action News that I really think this is a good buy. As a matter of fact, that proposal that I wrote up, I included the Seal Miner A2 as the unit they could use in the fleet. And as I was running the numbers, I was like, damn, this is a fucking value at scale.
Absolutely. That's the thing is you can't even scale it out anymore. You're going to have to wait for the A3. But 226 terahash, $3,900 or so, or roughly around there. It's a great deal. And it's reliable in the field. That's the other thing.
And if you use promo code UNGOVERNABLE, you get an additional 1% discount. And if you pay in Bitcoin, you get another discount from altairtech.io. I thought about that when you were talking about chargebacks for your previous company, because I know Avril's had problems with chargebacks. It's such an advantage to take Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. You deliver a product, the customer gets it. I mean,
what a concept.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad people in the world and bad actors that like to take advantage of small businesses, especially because they don't think they have the infrastructure to combat that.
Right. Yeah. I'm not some big nameless, faceless company. I'm just a guy in Missouri trying to sell you mining equipment.
Yeah. And the margins aren't substantial on mining equipment. They're really thin as it is. So if you try to place a $50,000 order and then charge it back, that is crushing to a small business.
It's pretty fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kris, I'm glad that Avril has you on the team. You seem like a fantastic addition, and I'm glad to get you to know you a little bit better. Hopefully the audience gets to know you a bit better and reaches out to you and orders miners. How do they get a hold of you?
Kris Altair Tech on Twitter, same as Instagram, and pretty much on all platforms.
Boring ass username. Kris Altair Tech, Kris Altair Tech, Kris with a K, because his parents were cool.
That is correct.
My parents were cool too. They didn't use an H. So
beautiful.
We're cool kids. All right, Kris, thanks for being this episode's Pleb Miner in the Wild.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, so I just took a big bite of jerky. Man, this stuff is so good.
While Jon is finishing his massive mouthful of meat, just know that you should go and test this out. Go and buy some beef jerky off our good friend Barn Miner. Everyone who has ever had it said it is incredible. You got to go and support that goat. He's a good goat.
It's tender and chewy at the same time.
Like Barn, he's tender and chewy at the same time.
It's a little bit of him in every piece.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good Pleb Miner in the Wild. I appreciate Kris giving us his time to tell us his story and what he does at altairtech.io. That's a real company with real plebs. It's not some kind of like Chinese miner supply lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can I send you my price list?
Yeah.
We ship direct from China.
How small hand make it look big?
You like that?
Oh, rub it.
Buy miner from me. Kris is not going to give you any kind of...
There's no happy ending.
He'll give you a hand.
Mm-hmm.
A different kind of hand.
There could still be a happy ending because financially you might do better. If you use our code ungovernable, you'd also be supporting us and getting a 1% discount. So There is a type of happy ending. It's just not the same. Is it, Kris?
It's not. I think he would say no.
Yeah.
So now you know him. Now you've heard his voice. He's a real person. If you need to buy some gear or need some help with your mining setup, just reach out to them. AltairTech.io provides a different level of service. And last but certainly not least, we still have a Lincoin ad read to do. In setting up my mine here, one of the units has a load center from Upstream Data. You can log in your machines, you can turn them on and off with the load center product, and they've got programmable logic controllers in there. And Lincoin Agent, the load agent product, can talk to things like that, even though they didn't invent it, they didn't build it, but their software can actually talk to those machines. So I reached out to Mehdi and Nima, and my helper here, like I said, he's a real smart kid. And he's like, you know what? I really want to figure that load center thing out. And I said, I will hook you up with the Lincoin guys so they can walk you through setting up the agent. We have the agent locally installed here. We've already used it to provision some machines, but that Upstream Data Load Center product is a whole nother ball of wax. And I thought, well, instead of taking it out and hardwiring everything back in with the PDU, I'm going to let this kid have a crack at it. So we reached out to the Lincoin guys and they're like, yeah, sure, we'll figure it out. Well, we've talked to the load center product before. Our systems talk to all kinds of things. So they're going to work on that. And I will report back to you guys how the agent product actually speaks to these pieces of equipment and how smooth it was for somebody that has not a limited knowledge of mining, because mining is not that technical on an IT side of things. And this kid's like way above my fucking head. That's for sure. But easy. He figured out that he got the agent installed and figured it out within minutes. That's how intuitive the Lincoin suite of products is. More than a pool, they're mining tools. That's the normal level of ad read on other shows. You know that?
No, that was so much better. It wasn't your best work, but it was still so much better.
Length of time.
Yeah.
That's the normal ad read on a show.
Do you know what the other thing is? It's just the level of love that we give to our sponsors and the people around us. You know?
Yeah.
With a normal sponsor, if they call you out of the blue and like, I need some help, you're not going to be there. If the fridge called you or me and he's like, guys, I need some help, even if it's just a cuddle, we'd be there. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the ungovernable difference.
A cuddle or a bar fight, either one.
With him, I wouldn't fucking fight him in a bar. I wouldn't fight him anywhere.
No, you're fighting with him.
With him. Yeah, I'd fight with him. I'd stand directly behind him.
You want to fuck around?
Yeah.
All right, boys, let's go. We're there.
We'll be there, mate.
Well, that's it. That's it for this episode of Action News. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too disorganized for you. But we're building good things here at Ungovernable Misfits, and we're a family. And just like with any family member, sometimes they give you their best and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. Well, I love you, Dad. And
I love you too, son. Very much so.
I'm proud of you. Keep on doing what you're doing, and I'll speak to you later.
All right.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Dad, you know we'll have a good time then.